President, please be seated. The court is now in session. Today, the chamber will hear a witness to TCW 1000. Greffier, Ms. Jia Siu Huang, please report the attendance of the parties and other individuals at today's proceeding. Greffier. Mr. President, for today's proceedings, all parties to this case are present. Mr. Nguyen Chia is present in the holding cell downstairs. He has waived his rights to be present in the courtroom. The waiver has been delivered to the greffier. A witness who is to testify today to TCW 1000 confirms that to the best of his knowledge, he has no relationship by blood or by law to any of the two accused, that is Nguyen Chia, Kieu Sampon, or to any of the civil parties admitted in this case. The witness took an oath before the Iron Club statue this morning, and he is now in the waiting room waiting to be called by the chamber. Thank you. President. Thank you, Ms. Jia Siu Huang. The chamber now decides on the request by Nguyen Chia. The chamber has received a waiver from Nguyen Chia dated 16 December 2015, which states that due to his headache, back pain, he cannot sit or concentrate for long, and in order to effectively participate in future proceedings, he requests to waive his right to participate in and be present at the 16 December 2015 hearing. Having seen the medical report of Nguyen Chia by the duty doctor for the accused at the ECCC dated 16 December 2015, who notes that Nguyen Chia today has back pain when he sits for long and dizziness, and the doctor recommends that the chamber grant him his request so that he can follow the proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs. Based on the above information and pursuant to Rule 81.5 of the ECCC internal rules, the chamber grants Nguyen Chia his request to follow today's proceeding remotely from the holding cell downstairs via audio-visual means. This applies to the whole day. AV unit personnel are instructed to link the proceeding to the room downstairs so that he can follow the proceedings. Now, the chamber would like to give the floor to the defense teams for Mr. Nguyen Chia. I note that he would like to make the submission yesterday, but the floor was not given yesterday, and now you have the floor. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, Council. Yes, indeed, I would like to make a few submissions in relation to a witness who testified here 13 days ago on the 3rd of December 2015. That person was named Prak Dun. And Mr. President, you might recall that in the morning there was a discussion about certain questions I wanted to ask this particular witness. He had earlier gave testimony about the killing of his wife, his Vietnamese wife, indicating that the killing was done by cadres from the village or from the region. When it was my turn to ask him questions, I wanted to know from him whether he was ever accused of having killed his own wife. And you might remember that when I was asked by Judge Fens why I was asking this question, I answered that that question was triggered by something that he had set himself in his civil party application E3/4989. I argued then that spontaneously, out of the blue, he offered in his application, and I quote again, I would like to deny that the Khmer Rouge ever forced me to kill my Vietnamese wife in order for me to survive. I swear that this was not true. The questions that I wanted to ask, like I said, was were you ever accused of being involved yourself in the killing of your wife, and were there ever any criminal proceedings against you in the early 80s? All those questions were about the reliability of this witness. As I said, as you might remember, I was prohibited from asking these questions. However, at a later stage, we stumbled upon another civil party application. That is after the witness had gone. It's a handwritten civil party application, or rather a victim statement. A statement written and drafted, as it seems, by the same lawyer as the lawyer of Prak Dun. This victim statement is numbered E3/4732, and the English version is the original. The English version has the thumbprint on it, and on English page 00427-379, this particular civil party says the following, and I quote, I know of one Khmer husband who was ordered/forced to kill his Vietnamese wife under threat of being killed himself. His name was Mr. Ga Dun. He was not ordered to kill his 2 mixed children. He killed his first wife by taking her somewhere and beating her on the head. He is still alive and lives in Boribo district in my area, Kampong Chnang province. He now has another wife and one of his daughters. The name Dun, Boribo district, Kampong Chnang province, is the same district that Prak Dun is from. Now, the reason I'm making these submissions, Mr. President, is that I would like to get clarification from especially the lead co-lawyers for the civil parties, whether they know that the person referred to in E3/4732, Ga Dun, is indeed the same person as Prak Dun. If this is indeed, if this civil party is indeed referring to Prak Dun, was this something that counsel, the civil party counsel, who is a lawyer for both people, was that something that she knew at the time? And depending on the answers or the clarifications hopefully provided to us and the chamber by the civil party lawyers, would assist us in reaching a decision to recall or not recall Prak Dun, because the question whether he was himself involved in the killing, that he actually killed his wife himself, goes of course directly to his reliability, because here in this trial, in this courtroom, he said that he had nothing to do with that, or rather he said that it were other people who did the killing of his wife. So I hope my submissions are clear, Mr. President.
President, thank you. Is, Mr. Co-Prosecutor, do you have something to address the Chamber in regards to the submission made by the Defense Counsel?
Your Honor, I have nothing to add. The only question I have is the document that counsel referred to that came to his attention recently. How long has that been in the possession of the defense? That is the civil party application that they think might refer to the witness who's testified and already.
What about legal lawyers for civil parties? Do you have responses to make? Please wait. You have the floor first, Judge Lavange. You can now proceed, Judge Lavange.
Just a request to Counsel Coppet to make things clear. I believe I remember I hear static in my headset. I hear static.
Yep.
There is a lot of static. Interpreter hears Judge Lavergne with great difficulty.
Il y a effectivement.
Yes, indeed, there is static on the French channel. And all channels, I have noticed.
Alors peut-être que ce
Maybe this microphone works better. Yes, indeed. Well, it's just a question for Counsel Coppet to make sure that everything is clear. I believe I remember that this witness answered your questions regarding whether or not he had been accused of killing his Vietnamese wife and whether or not he had indeed killed his Vietnamese wife. Is that the case?
If you read the transcript, what the witness does answer is that he talked to people seeming to imply government officials in the early 80s. But my questions as to whether he ever was in prison or in jail or whether he was ever criminally prosecuted, all those questions were not allowed by the bench. I think these questions, in the light possibly of that new or the civil party application that I just mentioned, should have been allowed, providing, of course, that this Gadun is indeed the same person as Prakdun.
President, thank you. Now the floor is given to legal lawyers for civil parties to make response to the submissions made by the defense team for Mr. Nguyen Chiet as Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning to all of you. In order to be very clear about this, I don't know on which basis our colleague is relying on to request from us, civil party co-lawyers, to provide him with that information. If the chamber requested us to do so, fine, but I don't know why I have to respond to the defense's requests, because I don't see the legal context this can be part of. The defense, of course, can submit a new request based on Article 87.4 of the internal rules, but I don't see how we could proceed otherwise. One comment, however, regarding the document that is used today by our colleague Koppe. Well, this document has been on the case file for many years already. It was part of the documents proposed in our lists as of 2011, that is to say before the severance, and then it was proposed again in July 2014, so it's a document that's accessible to all parties since long. It's not a new document, and I note that the information provided by the civil party does not correspond to Prakdun. We're speaking about Kadun. We're not speaking about Mr. Prakdun. It is indicated here that his wife survived. Prakdun said in a very clear way that his wife did not survive, etc., etc. So my proposal is the following. So if the chamber believes that I must provide this information, I will do so, but I want to be clear about the legal context in which we are operating. Otherwise, the defense can submit a written submission to request a re-examination of Mr. Prakdun, and then we will respond to the Nuncia defense's submission in writing, based on Article 87.4.
I'm not sure if I am allowed a short response, Mr. President. What the civil lead co-lawyer, the civil party is referring to, because this person did say that Gadun killed his first wife by taking her somewhere and beating her on the head. It seems to correspond with the statement of Prakdun himself, that he says, "I swear I didn't do that, I swear this is the truth." And he offered that explanation in his own civil party application. So if it is the same person, and it really looks like it is the same person, then again that goes directly to the reliability of this civil party. Of course, there is no way of forcing the civil party lawyers to give information as to whether these two persons are the same. I understand that. But I would like to remind the lead co-lawyer that if this is the case, this might be a situation of conflicting interests, and we will think about whether we should take this matter to the Australian bar. However, we do not wish to go that far at all. We just would like to have the information whether this person is indeed the same person as Prakdun. And if these submissions don't go anywhere today, then we will request a recall of Prakdun later, at a later stage.
Thank you, Mr. President. A short answer, however, to explain or to clarify a point of confusion. The French translation I heard of the civil party application of this civil party, that is say E3/4732, is different in English and in French. So it's indicated that it is she, the wife who survived, where she lives in Boribor district, whereas in the English version it says that he survived and that he lives in Boribor district. That's why I said that she survived on the basis of the French document. So I hope that my colleague follows me properly. In any case, this is what is indicated in the French translation of the application.
Very briefly, the English, as I said, is the original version that was drafted by Counsel Lima again, and it says, he killed his first wife by taking her somewhere and beating her on the head. He is still alive and lives in Boribor district in my area. He now has another wife. That seems quite obvious to me.
I agree entirely with you, but I was simply explaining why I had indicated that she is still alive, because back then I was reading the French documents. This is why I brought this up, whereas, of course, the original English version is different. So I simply wanted to clarify this point. Now, regarding the fact that the civil party lawyers or the co-lead lawyers are obliged to disclose to the chamber if this person is the same, I will then rely on the chamber's wisdom. If the chamber wishes to consult us on a formal basis to see if there is a conflict of interest, of course, we will abide. But in the meantime, I consider that it's up to the Nguyen Chair Defense to formulate a request on the base of Rule 87.4 so that we can respond in writing.
President, thank you for addressing the chamber, and the chamber will take all the submissions and responses into consideration in due course, in particularly during the time that there are no hearings. Now the chamber proceeds to hear 2 TCW 1000. Before the chamber invites the witness into the courtroom, the chamber would like to inform parties that this witness is interviewed within the investigative phase, and the protective measure is being requested to apply to this witness. And however, the protective measure is to be balanced with the needs to disclose the information in public and the integrity of the investigation. And party is reminded to be careful when using document E319/3. Court officers, you are instructed to invite 2 TCW 1000 into the courtroom.
President, good morning, Mr. Witness. The chamber just received the news that the witness duty counsel ទៅ
សាក់សី
This witness has the duty counsel with him. So I would like to ask the court officers to invite the duty counsel into the courtroom so that he can sit along with the witness.
លោកសាក់សី
President, Mr. Witness, during the hearings and based on the request of the co-investigating judge, the chamber is asked to refer you to your pseudonym 2TCW 1000 or a witness. So parties together with the chamber are not allowed to use your surname and your first name in public during the proceedings. Now the chamber would like to ask briefly your background in document E319/23.3.48 on page 2. Court officer, greffier, please show the highlighted points on page number 2 to the witness concerning the background of the witness, full name, parent's name, birthplace, place of birth, so on and so forth. And Mr. Witness, I would like to instruct you to tell the chamber on the points which are not incorrect. If it is correct, it is okay, and you can inform the chamber accordingly. Mr. Witness, can you read and write? Answer. Yes, I know how to read Khmer, but not well. President, so please read all the highlighted sentences and points and tell me whether or not they are correct. And if they are all correct, you can tell me so. Witness. Thank you, Mr. President. Everything is correct here, including my full name. President. Greffier, please get the document back and to the best knowledge of the witness, the witness has no relationship by blood or by law to any of the two accused and to any of the civil parties admitted in this case. Is this correct? Witness. That is correct. I have no relationship by blood or by law to any of the accused or to anyone here. President, before your appearance, have you already taken an oath before the Iron Club statue? Witness. Yes, I took a note already. Everything is done. President, now I would like to inform you your rights and obligations. As a witness in the proceedings before the chamber, you may refuse to respond to any question or to make any comment which may incriminate you. Right against self-incrimination. Your obligations. As a witness in the proceedings before the chamber, you must respond to any questions by the bench or relevant parties, except where your response or comment to those questions may incriminate you, as the chamber has just informed you of your rights as a witness. You must tell the truth that you have known, heard, seen, remembered, experienced, or observed directly about an event or occurrence relevant to the questions that the bench or parties pose to you. Mr. Witness, have you ever been interviewed or have you ever provided any statements to the investigator of the OCIJ? If that's so, how many times did they happen? Witness, I have been interviewed twice, once at my house and another one in Cambodia. President, thank you. Before you are here, before the chamber, have you reviewed or did someone read the statement to you that you provided 2 times to the investigator, one at your house and another one in Cambodia? Answer. Yes, I have reviewed the documents on some points, but not all of them, and I may have forgotten some other points. President, to your best knowledge, do the statements you have reviewed correspond to what you have told the investigators of the OCIJ, once at your house and another one in Cambodia? Answer. Yes, I could recall some points. I could recall much of them, but not all of them. President, in accordance with Rule 91 bis of the internal rules, the floor is given first to the co-prosecutors before other parties. The combined time for co-prosecutors and lead co-lawyers for civil parties is 3 sessions. You may now have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors, Counsel, civil parties, and Mr. Witness. Sir, if you don't understand any of my questions, please ask me to repeat them. Sir, at one point in your life, did you join a military force?
Answer, I joined the military in 1972 until 1979.
Sir, what was the military force that you joined at that time?
Answer, I joined the army in Cambodia province, and then in 1975 I joined Division 164.
Okay, thank you. Just so we're clear, when you say you joined the Army in 72, do you mean the Lon Nol Army, or which army do you mean?
Answer. Originally, I joined the Khmer Rouge military.
Now, I'm particularly interested in going to... Sorry. I'm interested, particularly for the purposes of this trial, in the period between 1975 and 79. So I'm going to concentrate on those years. You said in 1975 you were a member of Division 164. Is that correct?
Answer. That's correct.
Do you know who was the commander of the division between 1975 and 79?
Answer. From 75. In 1975, there was not a division yet. Only starting from 1976, there's an establishment of the division, and Tamih Mut was the commander of the division based in Kampong Saum.
This division that you called 164, did it have any other names at any time?
Answer. Based on my memory, there was another person named Ta Sarun and another person named Ta Nyang. There was also the East zone named Tadden, and Tadden later on disappeared, and I did not know the reason of his disappearance.
Okay, thank you. I don't think you understood my question. I'm sure it's my fault. Let me repeat it. The name of the division, 164, did the division have another name before it was called 164?
No, there wasn't.
Did you ever know of a Division 3?
Yes, that was not Division 3. It was in fact a Regiment 3, and later on it was integrated into Division 164.
Division 164, under the command of Mieth Mut, you said from 1976 on, can you tell us, was that part of a larger army, of a zone army or any other entity?
Yes, the division was within the division of the military zone.
What zone was it a part of, if any?
Yes, it was within the military zone of Kampong Saum.
Have you ever heard of the Army of the Center?
បាទឮប៉ុន្តែ
Yes, I heard. Yes, they are the Central Army. It's the division of 164.
So can you explain that? Are you saying that Division 164 was part of the Army of the Center?
បាទ
Yes, it's part of that.
Thank you. So from the time that the Khmer Rouge captured Phnom Penh in April 1975 until the Vietnamese came in January 1979, can you explain the positions you held within the Khmer Rouge military forces?
បាទខ្ញុំ
From 1975 to 1979, I was in Division 164. I was in the Battalion 129 and of the regiment.
Can you explain what kind of training you had, any kind of specialized training?
បាទអត់មានទេ
No, I was just a soldier. I did not participate in any training.
Did you only fight on land, or did you also fight from boats? Or were you assigned to boats?
កាលពីឆ្នាំ
Before 1975, I fought on land. But in 1975, I fought in water.
Did you receive some training before joining any naval force?
បាទជួបនៃការបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាល
Yes, I received some naval training about once or twice.
During those years, 1975 to 79, did you receive any political training?
No, I did not.
Did your commanders ever talk to you about what the Khmer Rouge policies were or goals?
កន្លងមកគាត់អត់មាននិយាយអី
He did not talk about politics. I did not know about any of those policy.
When you were part of the naval forces, can you explain to us what your job was? What were your orders?
លោកទទួលបញ្ជាពីខាងណាមកដែរពេលលោកធ្វើជាកងទ័ពជើងទឹកហ្នឹងបាទពេលធ្វើនិវិចរប្រយុទ្ធក្នុងលើក្នុង
During the naval fighting in the sea, from the division to the regiment and order from the regiment to the battalion. So I was in the battalion. I received the order from the regiment.
Were you stationed on boats that patrolled waters off the coasts of Cambodia?
កាលខ្ញុំ
When I was on the boat, when it was nighttime, I patrolled along the border.
Did you receive any orders about what to do if you encountered other boats in the water? Boats carrying refugees, for example, or fishermen?
When I was in the Navy, I was in Battalion 140. There was no such an order. But when I was based on the island, if there was the boat from Thailand, there was orders of arrest. And if there was such an order, I went to make an arrest.
Okay, let's go back and let me understand your answer. You said you had these orders when you were on an island. Can you explain what was your job when you were on the... First, which island are you speaking of?
The original island I was based was Tang Island, and after Tang Island, I was assigned to Pulawais Islands.
What years were those that you were on these islands?
In 1975, I was based in Tang Island, and in 1976, I was at Pulawai Island.
And how long did you stay at Pulawai Island?
It was until 1977 that I left Pulawais Islands.
Where did you go after 1977?
In 1977, the UNCA assigned me to the Naval Force.
Where were you based when you were assigned to the Navy?
I based at Ochetil Port.
When you were based on Ochutil, at Ochutil Port, would you patrol in naval vessels, waters off the coast of Cambodia?
All the fighting boat, they stay, but there are a number of boats that went out to patrol, and if there were any order, and then those boats went out to fight.
Did you receive orders to stop other boats that were not part of your Navy, and if they refused to stop, to sink them?
At that time, when there was not the coming of the Vietnamese yet, I did not receive any order from any levels of the Angkar.
So you were a soldier in the naval forces, and you had no orders. You could just do whatever you wanted.
Only when I received the order from the upper level that my force started to go out. If there was no order, we did not dare to do anything.
So I understand the time you're talking about. When is it that you said, you were saying that you received orders to go out from your upper level?
I did not receive the order to patrol, but it was the responsibility of the different group who responsible for patrol. For me, I was in the chasing naval force. We did not go anywhere. Only when there was any incident happening that there was an order for the chasing naval force to go out to do the work.
Are you aware of orders to stop motorboats, and if they refuse to stop, to sink them?
At that time, I did not experience receiving orders to stop or to sink any ships.
You told us about being interviewed in Kampot. That interview took 5 days, is that right?
Yes, no, it was only 3 days, not 5 days.
And you said you reviewed some of those, you reviewed those interview records today. So I'm going to read to you one of your answers from the second day, that's E319/23.3.44. And this is your answer number 26 in all 3 languages. You told the investigator, if we ordered any motorboat to stop and they did not stop on our orders, we could fire and sink it right away. I myself never shot any motorboat myself, but people in my unit did, to shoot at and sink motorboats. These sinkings were carried out following the general orders of the division. And then answer 27, you said it was a general order of the division to all units. These orders came from the division down to the battalions. Now, sir, is that true, what I just read?
Yes, the order came from the division down to the regiment and the regiment down to the battalion. So if you follow this chain of command, that's correct.
When a boat was stopped, did those in your forces on your boat have an order to report to the upper echelon who was on the boat that was stopped? In other words, their ethnicity and who they were.
If there was an arrest of motorboat, there was arrest of motorboat from Thailand, and if there was such arrest, we report to the battalion, and the battalion reported to the regiment, and the regiment reported further to the division.
My question is, did you have to report to the regiment, to the division, who was on the boat? In other words, these are refugees from Vietnam or fishermen from Thailand or Westerners. Did you have to do that kind of report?
បាទរឿងនេះរាយការណ៍
So it was yeah, there were reports from one level to another level. If there were arrests of the Vietnamese, and then we reported about the arrest of Vietnamese. If there were arrests of the Thai, we reported about the arrest of the Thai. So it was clear reports that went from one level to the upper level.
And what were the orders as far as what you were to do with the Vietnamese that you found on boats?
It did not happen when I worked there. Concerning the Vietnamese, if there was an order from the division to send those Vietnamese on land, we had to do so. And after that time, afterwards, I did not know where those Vietnamese were sent to.
The next answer in the interview I was just talking about, answer 29, you said the orders were clear on whether they were to be killed on the spot or sent ashore. If those persons captured were Vietnamese soldiers, we had to send them to the shore. Then they would broadcast their confessions via the national radio before they killed them. Is that correct? Do you know that?
បាទរឿងនោះ
Answer: that is true.
So the orders that were given to kill people on the spot, who were the kinds of people that they ordered you to kill on the spot, on the sea?
I did not know on this point. When I was ordered to make an arrest, I would carry out an order, and I myself never executed anyone.
You said that some Vietnamese soldiers were taken and they would broadcast their confessions on the national radio before they killed them. Do you know where it was that they recorded the confessions?
Answer: I do not know on this point.
In this trial, in this first part of this trial, case 2-1, the 3rd of April 2012, the commander of S-21, Doik, testified, and he was asked at 9:59 in the morning, you mentioned in evidence that Nguyen Chia had asked S-21 to record the responses of 2 Vietnamese prisoners of war per week for broadcasting. Do you remember saying that? And Doik answered, thank you, Mr. President. The truth is, on the 8th of January 1979, Brother Nguyen called me to work. It means that it was after the meeting of the victory of the Revolutionary Army over the Vietnamese army. Brother Nguyen asked me to interrogate the Vietnamese war prisoners and recorded their prisoners' confessions. Did you ever hear broadcast the confession of anyone that you saw captured on the sea?
Answer. I do not know regarding this point.
What happened to people who were taken from the boats, particularly Vietnamese refugees who were taken to shore? First, let me ask, were Vietnamese refugees taken to shore or were they killed, if you know? Let me rephrase the question. First of all, sir, did you yourself ever capture any boats and people in boats?
Answer. At that time, I myself did not make the arrest.
Sir, weren't you involved in the capture of Vietnamese refugees?
No, I was not involved in it.
Were you on a boat and your boat captured Vietnamese refugees, including a man who had a hand amputated? Did that happen?
Answer. At that time, I was part of the naval unit already. I saw the incident with my own eyes at Ochetia port when that person was sent ashore. President, thank you, International Co-Prosecutor. It is now a break time. The chamber will take a short break from now until 10:30. Court officer, please assist the witness during the break time in the waiting room, and please invite him back into the hearing room at 10:30 together with the duty counsel.